Hi everyone. This tutorial is for Fusion 360. This is going to be a very short one, I hope. Where I'm going to do several in this kind of mini series here. This video is going to concentrate just on grabbing an image that you think you might want to use for something maybe that you've even drawn yourself, for something to trace, or if you're thinking about this as maybe you actually have actual plans, elevations, and sections, and you want to use them to sort of rebuild a CAD model from a series of drawings. This is the way to do that, and it uses a set of tools called the canvases, which are, you can kind of see the little pop up here that explains kind of what those are all about. Um, I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to show you the very basics of navigation in Fusion 360. So let's start there. When you first get into the software, you're going to see something that looks about like this. It's going to open up an untitled project for you, or design, I should say, for you. You're not going to be in any particular design. What you want to do is make sure that you're in the Triplet Course Projects team, which is right up here. Okay, so you also have a single user storage thing. That's probably the default, so you want to make sure that you're in here. Once you're inside there, you'll see that you should have a project that I've set up for you, something like this, and then you have your own individual folder. So I'll go to my own folder, and I can open up this weaving house as an example. So this is what I did just kind of earlier to show you how to set up these images so that you have something to trace from. I'm going to show you first, how do you kind of navigate around. Well, there's a few ways. You can see there's a view cube up here. If you grab any part of that view cube with the left mouse button, as you see here, it'll sort of rotate you around. I kind of got used to navigating in the viewport without using that. So what I do is I hold down Shift, and if I middle mouse button while holding down Shift, it will do what's called orbiting, and it'll orbit around whatever is kind of selected in the center. So if I let go of Shift and middle and push the little middle mouse button in, it will pan. If you hold down Shift, if you just simply mouse wheel in and out, that's going to take you closer to the object. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Let me start from a new example though. So this is where we're going to be headed today. I just wanted to show you a little bit. Here are my three. So this one is looking like that's the east elevation. So let me rename this while I'm at it. Okay, so we have a plan, a north elevation, and an east, and that's really all I needed to do a pretty basic model of this this building, which is a weaving house. It was on the Farintosh plantation in Durham County. All right, so those are my three canvases. The other thing that happens here in this browser is you see that you have individual sketches, which I can turn the eyeball on and off. Sketches are the 2D things. Let me turn off the canvases so you can see what this looks like. Bodies are the 3D objects, and you can see them here. I can, I've separated these out into separate bodies so I can call this chimney. I can call this one chimney base. You get the idea. And the top one can be main house. Okay, that's fine. All right, so this is a really simple model. I just want to make sure that we kind of get the basics done today. And this is perfectly okay to be dropping into ArcGIS. You don't want the most complicated models ever in that system, to be honest. So what I've done is I've uploaded the image that I want to use. If you're inside your project folder right here, you can hit this upload button, and then you can select files to drop in there. I'm just going to quickly grab, why don't we just grab a different one? I'll grab this Orange County image that I found and hit upload. and it'll just take a moment, and then I'll have this image inside of Fusion 360, and it'll make it easier to apply. Okay, so that should be visible in a moment. I'm going to create a new design, so I'm going to close this one. Okay, so that's Weaving House is right there. I now have this PNG that's here. So let's try to create our very first canvas. Okay, so let's place this one down. I'm not as familiar with this image, but let me have a look at what this particular image has. Okay, so this is what is on that image there. Okay, and you can kind of see that it is finally loaded right over here. This is not ideal because it would be great if we also had a plan, but you know, we can still work with this. So let me close this up, and I'm going to begin with that north elevation. Okay, so right here you can see where it says top, front, etc. I can kind of grab that and look around. I'm going to sort of just make sure that I can see everything down here. I'm going to switch my camera to orthographic. Okay, so here's what perspective looks like. You can see everything kind of as I mouse wheel away, it sort of tapers off into the distance. I'm going to keep it at orthographic for now because I have orthographic images as my sources here. So I'm going to keep that in orthographic mode. And you can see when I hold down shift and move around that this square doesn't get smaller as it gets farther away. It's a little bit disorienting, I think, the first time you see it. But it's really useful for us to not be in a mode where it's actually changing the perspective as it goes away. So I guess I'll see which way is front just so I get a better idea of what I'm trying to do here. I'll put the north side on the front, so that means I'm going to go to Insert Canvas with this button here, and I'm going to choose that factory house image, which I just uploaded. And then it's asking me, as you can see right here, it's already on this, all of these tools are going to open up in the right-hand side. It has face and this little button selected, right? So I could change the image here if I wanted to. I'm fine with it as it is. Then it's saying select. So then it's saying, what do you want to put that image on? And it gives you, fortunately, 3 options right here. I'm going to do this one first. If I had a plan, I probably would select the one on the ground here. Okay, so it looks like I'm in meters. Really quickly, let's make sure I switch that. This is my preferred default is in meters, but I'm pretty sure this image is actually in feet. So I'm going to go to inches. I just find that to be easier than working in feet because it gives you decimal feet and drives me crazy. Okay, so we're in inches here. I've changed that, but what I still want to do is go and open up this canvas, this little caret here, and I'm going to edit it. Okay, so right click and edit, and this little button right here, as I zoom way in here, you can kind of see there it is. It's added on there, but it's really, really small. I think it's easy sometimes to just, you know, even punch this up to, I don't know, something like 50 times the size, and then I'm going to kind of mouse wheel away. You can see these are inches right here, so this is going to have to get a lot bigger. Fortunately, this is an image, and this is what I recommend if you can find it. If you can't, it's okay. You can do kind of an estimate, but if you have measured drawings, then you have an more exact idea of what you're going to get here. So what I'm going to do is calibrate this image, which is going to make it essentially scale it. So I'm going to right click and hit calibrate, and I'm going to click once at 0 and once over here at 10, and you can see it's at 2.38 etc. inches. What I want is 10 feet, so I'm going to do 10 and then a little hash for feet, and hit enter, and you can see it just immediately made it huge. I'm going to push the mouse wheel forward like this, and this is a scaled image. Now where you can see, since we're in inches, these are really high numbers. The next thing I want to do is just move this image of the north elevation so that the bottom kind of matches the bottom of the image. So if I hit front like this, you'll see this. There's a bit of a pale red line here. That's the bottom. I'm going to move this right here down onto the bottom just so I have one axis that I can control. So I'm going to right click and edit the canvas, and then with this little mouse button here, I'm going to grab that little square and pull it down. Now this is a really high resolution image, so I can feel it's already kind of behaving a little strangely, but I'm going to pull this over here. And if I want to, I can, zoom out a little bit, move the mouse button over to the right and zoom in again, so I just have a little bit more space. So as you zoom in, you can see right down here under uh, grid settings, you can set the increments, or you can make it so that they're fixed or adaptive, right? So I want this to adapt. As I get closer, it's going to go down to individual inches and then half inches, etc. And it's breaking things up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches per at this point. Not 5. Actually, that's going to be more like 50. It looks like, yeah. So now we're at 10, etc. Okay, so I'll hit OK. That's all fine. Just an easy way for you to know that you can change your kind of underlying grid settings. Make sure I edit that canvas and just get this kind of lined up a little bit better. I'm going to put just the bottom right about there, and this is kind of eyeballing it. This red line is now kind of like right on those supports that are there, and that's going to be okay for me. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so that's one. I've got the north set. The next thing I think I want to do is get the image from, it looks like, yeah, this east elevation would be useful to kind of get this side as well. I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to set that up. I'm going to hold down Shift and change my view a little bit. And I'm just going to create a new canvas. And this time I'm just going to use a different part of that same image. And I'm going to choose, as I turn around, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm going to choose this image right there. Now it's going to be really, really tiny. So if I want to, I can kind of drag that, but I'd rather just say, like, make it 1,000 times bigger, just so I can even see it. And then I'm going to, it looks like, yes, it looks like it's facing the opposite direction. You see how all the words are kind of screwed up? That's okay. This one we're going to call north. And this one we're going to call east. So you can tell the difference here. I'm going to right click and edit that canvas. And what I want to do is flip it horizontally. So now it's, if I'm going to be 3D modeling from this like left view, that it's going to fit correctly. Okay. So from there, I'm just going to kind of very roughly position this one kind of up. And the idea is we're trying to make them speak to each other in a way that is helpful. Now you may not, as I said before, you may not have measured drawings like this. That's okay. You can kind of do this thing with just like one photograph even. As long as you know a handful of measurements, I think that'll help you. I'm going to hit left just so I can get this a little bit cleaner. And I'm going to move this east elevation back here because this is going to define where we are. Okay. And I want to make sure that this is properly, sorry, I think I forgot to hit enter when I did this. East, enter, yes. Okay, so let me quickly calibrate it. I'm going to zoom way in here. And, this is where you can tell that there is an element of error in any of these. I'm going to type this as 10 and then the feet, otherwise you'll get 10 inches. Okay, make sure that that's scaled correctly. All right. So as you can see, it's just a there's a few times, and I'm doing this in a little bit of a tweaky way, but I'm going to move it up. It's interesting that it changes the title of it after I go to edit canvas again. That seems a little bit new to me, but okay, so this is fitting in there. I'm fitting this in the blue and the red axis in the forward position. So hopefully I think I did this correctly. Yeah, it looks okay. So the idea here is that this north and this east are scaled and speaking to each other, right? So that they are in the correct position. So I'm pretty happy with that. We have a number of things here that will overhang a little bit on this side. So you can see that there's some complicated things here to 3D model, but I think we'll still be okay. We might want to put the west elevation facing kind of this way in there as well. So why not? Just it's a slightly longer video this way, but that's all right. I'm going to create another one just so you can see the same thing 3 times. I'll hit insert. And this time, I think what I want to do, let's do another trick here. So I'm going to hit cancel, and where I really want this to be represented sort of over here, not right on that same plane, because it's east and west. So you can do something kind of fun here. You can create an offset plane, and I'm going to select this plane here, and I'm just going to kind of pull it way out until, and I'm going to look at the front view. So I'm just going to pull that plane out until it's just sort of out of the way, right? So if I change my view here, you can sort of see I've just pulled that plane off from where it was before, from here to here, using the offset plane tool. I'll hit OK. So now I have, under construction, I have this construction plane. I can use that as another place to put an image. So I'm going to insert another image, that same thing right there. Good. Okay, it is unlikely to be oriented correctly, but that's all right. I'm going to kind of pull this up quite a bit. Okay, I'll hit OK for now because I still know I need to calibrate it. And I hope that these new titles stick. Good. Okay, so here's west. I'm going to right click on west and go to calibrate. I'm going to turn east off just so it doesn't get in my way. I just need to find that. There we are. So I'll go from 0 to 10, hit 10 feet. Okay, just type right in the box, and that will scale it up. And so now, actually, west is oriented correctly in this view, so that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and move it. Odd how it does that. Very strange. But we are okay with that. What I'm going to do, and this is another sort of trick, you don't normally get things that fit quite this well where you have all of these elevations that are already scaled drawings. But since we do have it, I'm going to use it. I'm going to turn that east view back on and try to line it up. Okay, so let me turn that east on, and you can see it sort of shadows these things. Okay, middle mouse button. Okay, so I'm just going to line these two up. And because the person who originally made this model did a really good job of scaling, you can see the way these two elevation drawings really line up quite well with each other. Okay, that is really great. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And now if I zoom away, you'll be able to see that from this side I'm getting information about the chimney, and from this side I'm getting information about this sort of little addition, I guess, on the left-hand side. Okay. All right, so that's about all we need. I'm going to conclude that here so this doesn't become too long of a video tutorial. That's how to do basic navigation and how to add canvases. The only thing left to do really quickly here is just to save. And we're going to call this Factory House 9. Okay. Good. All right, so I'll see you in the next video, and we'll start 3D modeling.